some people are wondering what the heck this thing is, which I'm going to talk about in a second. I talk to a lot of people every day. I talk a lot in general. Everybody knows this. But I wanted to jump on this morning and start talking to people a little bit about where everybody's at, trying to take care of one another. So this is really more, talking in general about emotional things. But I got to share some stuff because we're dealing with some depression stuff, but then, and I can't remember who to give credit for in my Remax system, but somebody kind of mentioned that everybody's going through, a grief or a portion of the grief cycle over all of this. And so I wanted to talk for a minute this morning, because certain people are talking to me about, they're depressed because of this, or they're anxious about that, or some people are completely good to go and, positive and there's all these people in different spots. And so I thought this morning I wanted to jump on and just give everybody a great reminder of something here. I've got, let's just see. So, the grief cycle here, let me make it bigger. This is just straight up off of Wikipedia. So if you're looking at this, we've all kind of been in this at some point or another here in the past, several weeks, and since this entire epidemic started. And I think it's a great reminder to people right now, just like an excellent reminder. You could all be at different places within this darn thing in here, but yet you're super hyper connected, both geographically, you could be right next to each other, or more importantly, what I think we're all dealing with a little bit is people are at different parts of this cycle geographically, at different parts of the country, different parts of the world, but we're instantly connected because of this, because of the live streaming, because of the instant information and all that stuff. So just if you haven't looked at this, if you haven't looked at it in a long time, or you whatever, just remember that everybody that you talk to, first and foremost, may be at a different point or a different part of this scale, and because they're at a different part of this scale, it's important to understand, denial. That was a while ago now. I don't think anybody probably is in the denial phase of the epidemic or what's going on in their lives personally or their financial situation or anything else. I don't think anybody's likely still there. But under denial, you see avoidance, confusion, shock, fear, all these other things. And there is a ton of that. And I would argue the fear has never gone away. And that's because of some other things we could talk about. But then it goes into anger, frustration, anxiety. Definitely a lot of people still in there. Depression, just feeling a little bit helpless. That fight or flight mode kicks in, all of that good stuff. Right now, depression, people are definitely in there. Then as we start to go back up, sorry if you can't read that, as we start to go back up, we've got this telling one story or finding meaning and all this other stuff. That's when people, I think, start to, as it says in here, that's when they start to make a plan. We all start to make a plan on how we're going to come, out of this somehow. And certainly there's everyone making plans for us as well. But then when we get to acceptance, we have a new plan in place and we are moving on. And I think obviously that's where we're all hoping, certainly we're all hoping to get there soon. And so as you look down in the bottom of that same thing, it was information. And on this bottom part here, this bottom piece, if you look over here, information and communication going on, lots of emotional support needed in the middle, and then just guidance and direction. Guys, I would argue, at least in my circles and from what I'm experiencing, a lot of people are still in need of some emotional support. And then certainly there's some people in need of guidance and direction. But I also wanted to talk briefly before I show everybody how I meditate. If yeah, Nick Simon, if you're out there in social land, or if somebody could tag him on Facebook or something, that'd be great. But he reminded me, meditation. I'm not very good at it, but I'll explain how I got into meditation and how much it's helped me. But then also, I really want to talk about the context of people's experience this morning, and have everybody think about the context of your own personal experiences, but then the experiences of people around you. The fear involved with a virus or something that affects a mass large group of people like this, it's obviously new for a lot of people, but I hope everybody can kind of remember the context a little bit, that there's a lot of like soldiers and other service people are constant frontline people, just like the new frontline workers of this epidemic they're gone from home without their families, sometimes for years, but months on end, dealing with things all over. And once you've seen the rest of the world and how I think outside of our most people's safe little world bubbles, just remember that there's other people that have experienced a lot of different things. And even if you haven't, maybe they have. And so that's just another thing to be thinking about as we come through this, because there's a lot of anger and depression and negativity. And I think a lot of positivity can come, obviously, out of, knowing that people are there, or at least just recognizing that they're there and trying to be a little bit more patient and tolerant. Which brings me to, meditation every day, like being able to just center yourself a little bit. I'm a drummer. So, and I know it's going to be a little funny here, only because I want to get into this drum and a little bit. I actually have a meeting with the coffee meeting with the woman who made this drum. She's an amazing person. I'll talk about her on another day and do another video. But Isthmus Instruments is where I got this amazing steel hand drum. And yes, it's kind of weird. I'm about to do some meditation, or at least try to. It's going to be too hard with knowing there's a camera here and whatever. But I want to just show people how I got into it, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, okay, you hippy dippy, like, what are you doing here?" But I'm a metal drummer too. And hey, what's going on, Joe? Good morning. Joe Long coming in live here. But I'm a metal drummer. So then people are like, well, are you hippy dippy, or are you like one of these, metal rockers? And the answer is I'm both. But this instrument is not just like, it's nothing like I've ever played before. And I'm going to just play it for you now and shut the heck up and stop talking. But drumming, learning to sit silently, like whatever, meditation, very hard. I didn't give it nearly the credit of how hard it is to learn to meditate. I don't know either hopefully if somebody's live still on here can tell me if you can actually even hear this. So. Oh, by the way, you can play it wrong. So these are tones and notes. So if I was just doing this just for surely meditation standpoint, which is, again, there's like people watching, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like really get into it all that much. But and I'm, by the way, new at this instrument too, so I'm by no means a pro. I promise I will get the maker of one of these on and really show everybody what they can do. But. Well, I could just be sitting here on the internet right now, and you guys can't even hear that at all. So I'll just kill it now. But yeah, pretty neat instrument. But anything that you can do that takes your mind, I guess, out of your rushing and overwhelming, state of mind when whether you're thinking about this epidemic or whether you're thinking about work or you're elderly and sick, or anything else that's like not negative, try to get into something, get into some physical activity, get into some meditation. I know it all sounds hippy dippy, but I mean, I'm a combat vet. I have done yoga with some of like the burliest, whatever, quote unquote hard asses in the world. And I mean, I'm just, man, there's still, for those of you doing the awareness still for our veterans that are killing themselves a day at 22 people a day too. Thank you for that. Hear it really well. We can hear it. Cool. You should be wearing Trappin' Sons hat. Hey, Uncle Frank. Sorry, man. I'll make sure I get the Trappin' Sons hat on. I definitely need a hat, man. It's cold. It's kind of damp where we're at here this morning. Oh, cool. I'm glad everybody was telling me now that they could hear it a little bit. And I wasn't just sitting there streaming into no man's land. But anyway, I got to get centered for my meetings here today. And man, just keep going out there. If you need help, if you're going through the crappiest of crap, remember that somebody else has it crappier. Remember that somebody else is in deeper mud than you with more challenges, more limitations. There's always someone that has it worse or something that could be worse. I have it so good, it's hard to even talk about. So from that standpoint, I wish everybody a great weekend. Don't fight with each other about this reopening, please. Don't fight with each other about the politics of all of this. They've conveniently made it very political in a political year. And guys, we just, let's not fall for it. If you're somebody who interacts with me out there online, don't fall for this. Not this year. Don't destroy a bunch of relationships. Don't end a bunch of things as best you can over politics. Come on. We should all right now be really, really pissed off at the system and the fact that the amount of there's just so much corruption on both sides, and I think they think it's funny that they've got us all fighting each other at such a high level while they go stealing. Both sides, all sides. Our government needs an overhaul. Everybody knows it, right? So stop fighting each other. Be kind. Be good to one another if you can, please. And anybody else, Jason, good morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I can't really see everybody that's come in. Sorry, I'm streaming from a different system. But if you're coming in late, just a little bit of a recap. Depression, it's out there in different places. Thanks, Tim. Amen to you. Grief cycle. I'm going to throw it up here really quick again. Remember, your friends, your family, people on different sides of this country right now, they're at different parts of that sucker. They're at different parts. Respect that. Give it some little more time. We're all going to be coming out of this. Remember that there's a bunch of people that have a bunch more experience than you're giving them credit for going through stuff like this. So let's and I'm not picking on young people, but you don't have the same life experiences, and the hysteria is a lot easier to promote when people haven't seen more things or experienced more things. That's why, getting together with some people that have a lot more life experience, way more than mine, and listening to them tell about how they've gotten through things is very positive and invigorating. It feels great. So go talk to some people that have been through this. Hell, they we can't be in person with them. They're at greater risk anyway. Let's start calling our folks that can tell us stories of making it through stuff like this before. And then last but not least, we started hitting on the drums and meditation. So I'm going to hop off. Next time, I know somebody said they want me to do the metal side of things, and that's actually very therapeutic too, but it's just really not enjoyable for very many other people to listen to. Big shout out to my continued leadership and family, my mom and dad, my wife, trying to educate our kids here at home, all my Rematch Preferred fam, talking to you. Hey, Becca, good morning. All the people who motivate me to stay fit and physically healthy, all the people at the company that are continuing to try and navigate through this real estate stuff when they're being yelled at in a bunch of different ways. We know people need to move. It's not just a want thing. So continue to be safe out there as far as all my real estate colleagues and professionals. I'm going to keep supporting you virtually with all this tech and all this other stuff the best we can. And yeah, now I got carried away. Jamie, take care, man. Have a nice day too. Jason, Uncle Frank, everybody who stopped in and commented and said hello. Thanks. Have a great day. We'll see you guys.